Hi, my name is Andrew Caravella, in case you don't know that yet. I'm a television and radio personality, and my current gig is social media management for a public media radio and TV station in Southern California. Now, I thought it was time to educate people on media literacy. This is important. You see, we live in crazy times nowadays, and it has come to my attention there's all kinds of interesting fake news that circulates the internet on our social media. And yeah, some of you actually may be suspect to promoting this type of narrative, and that's okay. You've probably been doing it unintentionally, believe it or not. I'm here today to help you curve that so you will sound more intelligent when posting on social media. Now, why is this so important? Well, unfortunately, when people don't know how to identify what real news is and what fake news is, it tends to stir things up with people. Good example, you ever played the telephone game growing up? Well, you whisper in someone's ear and then they take that information and then they, go and whisper it in someone else's ear and so on and so forth until it reaches the last person on the telephone game. Okay, it's kind of like that. The message by the time the game is over is completely different than what you started with. That is what is happening on your social media. But you're probably sitting there and saying, Andrew, I do post real news. I post InfoWars or anything AOC is saying. Okay, well, good for you. That's not accurate. Let me explain something to you. When it comes to news and real news, consider the source. Whatever you are posting or resharing needs to have an accurate source. CBS, NBC, CNN, your local newspaper, the local news station on TV, official social media channels that are verified from the news agencies. These are factual places to gather news from. But then you say, but Andrew, I'm not a fan of MSNBC or CNBC or Fox or blah, blah, blah. Hey, that's okay, because in the world of accurate and precise information, we all have a bias. It's up to you as an educated individual to decide what you want to listen to. Now, there's a spectrum you see for news. There's a center, which is as balanced as it gets, and then there is a right, which tends to lean conservative. The further right you go, it becomes radical. Same thing on the left side. You're liberal, and then the further left you go, all the way to the end, it's radical. In the news business, if it bleeds, it leads. Depending on what your affiliation is, you believe it or not, will lean towards a certain types of news medium and outlet. It's going to happen, and you must always consider the source. But then you say, Andrew, I don't like any of the news because it's all fake. Hey, that's okay. I got you. At the bare minimum, you should again educate yourself by learning your local government offices. I'm not talking about politicians. I'm talking your local city, your state, and county websites. This is the place you will find accurate and non-biased news for your area. I promise it's there. But then you say, Andrew, when I do that, it's so boring. There's no pictures and all they do is report the facts. Duh. That's the idea of news. You know why the majority of people don't actually do that? Because as a society, we get stimulated by this thing called sensationalism.
Imagination.
It goes back to the whole if it bleeds, it leads. And the problem with that is, since the birth of social media and the development of technology, the majority of all of you, including myself, feel like mandated reporters all the time and post anything you want that you find shocking, unless you put context behind it, like a satirical website, like The Onion or Babylon Bee, which are amazing sites, by the way. They're really funny. Anyways, you're allowing people to judge you at face value for the information you are providing them. And unless you have fact-checked the article you're posting, you might come off media illiterate to others.
Just the facts, ma'am.
But then you say, Andrew, I like the news so-and-so posts. He or she always knows what's going on. That's cool. Hopefully so-and-so is a news reporter or an actual journalist. And even then, they may be misrepresenting themselves if they're not releasing their story from an official agency webpage or social media account. I can promise you, when a website or Facebook page is throwing the bleeding stories at you, whether they have stringers, which are people that gather the news for news places, or writers, if you're seeing misspellings or grammatical errors often, or certain types of stories all the time, chances are they are not an official news outlet, even if they say they are. But Andrew, the news I check is always first, and they beat everyone else to the punch. No one cares. Literally, no one cares. This whole idea of being first is a complete myth.
If you ain't first, you're last.
You ever hear the expression being first is not always the best? Facts. You know what first really means? It means that you are first to make mistakes, which, mind you, if you do, the second news agency is going to make sure they put you on blast. The more and more you are first, the bigger gamble you take at crashing and burning. Nothing wrong with having exclusives. In the news business, that's really what it means to be first. Now, regular stories, there's no reason to race as long as the correct information comes out in a timely manner. Now, don't get me wrong, I prefer working entertainment news personally. It's my thing. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is your best friend in the whole wide world. I'm Andrew Caravella, but I can also admit it's gossip and it's superficial news most of the time. I'm good at it. That's why I like it. However, I do have a background in real news. Most of the people who are my professional contacts, they can vouch for that. So I have no shame at all in trying to be as blunt as possible with all of you to make you, the viewer watching this, understand you have to know where your sources come from if you are at all to consider it real news and then turn around and post it.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
What you post literally represents who you are and what you believe. Think about that. With all that being said, the best way you can help your friends and family out who are suspect of posting fake news is not acknowledging it or educating them on it. That's good. In this world, I have always believed people can do only three things to you: love you, hate you, or not care at all about you. If you love a post someone does, you're gonna reshare it, probably to show your support. If you hate a post someone has done, you will probably call foul and defend your beliefs. In either scenario, you are inflicting some type of emotion to get a point across. The third thing is not care. And you know what? This is what you should be doing when you know a story is fake. Why? Because you stop the fakeness dead in its track. Fun fact, 90% of people actually act on emotions. Only 10% act on logic. It's logical to consider your sources of a story before putting it out there on social media. Think about that. Like really think about that. If you are logical and know for a fact, because you researched that the story in question is total malarkey, that's a good word, you're not going to expand the story by posting the same BS to your network of friends and families and colleagues. You could take it a step further and, like I said, educate that person, obviously through DMs, on fact-checking their sources. I mean, only if you care to. Help yourself by helping others not spread fake news. It will continue because not everyone is going to watch this video. Not everyone is going to understand. And not everyone is going to be proactive and fix their social media going forward. And that's okay too, because this video is not for them, it's for you. With all that being said, I hope it helps. For ACTV, Under Quarantine, I'm Andrew Caravella.